That's it. You are live. Hello, everyone.
This is going to be fun because we've never done this before. So hopefully you can hear us okay. And we see that there's some people already here. So thanks for joining.
Yes.
And we're retired, guys.
You're retired.
We made it. It's been a long journey for us. Well, not that long, but 5 years in the making to get to this point.
Yes.
And we're here. How do you feel about that?
About being retired? It's been an experience. Oh. It's been an experience, but we can't complain. I mean, everything is doing not as I was expecting, but at the same time, I believe that this is how it is, that we just need to go and keep doing what we are doing. But I want to make sure that you guys can hear us. Do you mind saying anything in the comments on your right side or on the left? I'm not sure where it is, but if you can tell us where you are, we will be able to see that our sound is okay.
Yeah, because this is the first one we've ever done. So this is going to be a bit of a learning curve for us. Make sure it's good.
Hello from Texas. Hi, Tracy. How are you?
Oh, Angie. Oh, my goodness. There's a lot of people here.
We hear you. Hey, Jay. How are you? Northwest Coast. Loud and clear. Oh, my goodness. That is amazing.
That's awesome. So just in case, I mean, we don't know when everybody sort of started following our journey. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a background, if you are sort of a little bit newer with us. We discovered FIRE back in we met in 2018. We met online.
That was actually one of the questions that people were asking. How did you guys meet, right?
Yeah. So we picked each other up off of an online dating site.
Yes.
It's worked out well.
Do you think so?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. And then in 2019, we really kind of honed in on the concept of FIRE. And that was as a result of having a bit of a conversation about finances. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate that that's a really difficult conversation to have. And kind of bearing your soul financially to your partner at the beginning of a relationship can be a little trying. But Gean was great about it. And at that point, he really kind of started to introduce this concept of FIRE to me because I'd never heard of it before. And we sort of just went all in from that point on.
Yeah, it is actually been quite a journey, right? From what we were. I mean, Kristine, as you guys might know, she already started, her retirement. I think that we can say that.
Yeah.
5 days. 5 days into retirement, then we were actually talking about, okay, how do you feel? But this past weekend, we decided to kind of have a trial run and stick until the end of this live because we're going to give something back to you guys and you see what's going on. But we were just talking about how it all started and the things that we were doing before and all the struggles that we've had initially. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it's been a journey, but I think it's been really good too. I mean, many of you know that initially we kind of projected that this moment would happen in 2028 for us.
2028, yeah.
Jokingly, I would throw out 2024. But then down at some point, it became reality that 2024 was actually a very realistic goal. And I think that just really kind of goes to show that when you are committed to a goal, when you are on board with each other and fighting for the same thing, you can do amazing things.
Yeah. But I just want to make sure if you guys have any questions, just throw your questions along the way. As we did say before, we wanted to apologize maybe in advance on how those things are. I'm not sure if the quality of the camera is good, but we sold it, the one that we had before.
Yeah, sorry guys.
This is the webcam from the laptop. I don't think that this is the best quality, but share in the comments below. We are more than happy to get another one by July. We can't have anything else on our backpacks over the next 3 months. If you have not heard the reasons why, we are more than happy, and we will definitely share with you later on.
Yeah, I was just actually, before we went live with you guys, looking around thinking, how many pieces of furniture do we actually have left? And I think I counted 9. That includes the couch we're sitting on, the table you guys are sitting on, and there's not much left. The bed.
If you guys are not, we are celebrating. I'm having my
oh yeah, cheers, guys.
My drink with me, so we are gonna drink along the way. If you are not, grab your tea, grab your water, grab whatever you wanna do, and let's talk and let's celebrate together. We're very, very happy to be talking to you.
And I'm gonna write down some of this so we don't miss them. So we had a few questions that were sent in because unfortunately some people can't be here today, but we promised that we would get to those questions. So the very first one is from Sarah, and she asked, how did we make, so if many of you don't know, we've decided to commute a pension that I've had with my previous job because I'm retired now. So how did we make the decision to commute that pension versus leaving it in and getting monthly payments from it to add to our government pension down the road?
But should we kind of give them an overview on where we are and until we got to this point?
You do that. I'm gonna
Okay, so here's what happened. As we did say initially, Kristine and I, we met in 2019. In 2019, when we met, I already knew that we were gonna live together, and then we have that beautiful conversation of financial, and then we realized that both of us, we had some debt that we need to clear off. That's when in 2019 we basically got rid of all the debt. There was actually $6,000 in consumer debt that both of us we had it. And
let's face it, most of that was mine.
And in 2020, in 2020, we kind of discovered the concept of FIRE, and as a result, we thought, okay, what can we do to achieve financial independence? We had this conversation, and that's when the channel was actually created back in 2020. And ever since, we have been sharing the journey to financial independence with you guys. It's been actually 4 years.
It has
4 years. 4 years that we are here on YouTube, right? And initially, as Kristine said, we thought, okay, what do we want to do? And we love traveling. We don't have any kids. It's only both of us. We live in Canada. We live in Toronto. And then we thought, okay, what are some of the things that we can do to make sure that we can, achieve our dream, which is traveling around the world? That's when we started doing. That's when we started investing heavily in stocks. That's when we started. Also, for those of you here in Canada, there is a concept that we call the Smith maneuver, which is basically. But when I met Kristine, she already had a home, right? So that's what we need to clear that out. So Kristine had a home with a mortgage, as you know, like a regular mortgage, and then we thought, what can we do that to make sure that we can achieve our dream? And interrupt me if I'm making any mistakes. That's when we started investing the equity of our house. So we basically use it to live upstairs. So this is, we are on the lower level of our house, and we were living upstairs. We decided to come and live downstairs. As a result of living downstairs, we were able to rent upstairs.
Yeah, we had been renting down here, but we were able to make more money by renting out, obviously, the larger space upstairs. And the reason why we did that was to gain more, obviously, cash flow, but also, like Gean said, we started to invest the equity here in Canada of our home. And unlike our neighbors in the US, here in Canada, you cannot use the interest that you pay on your principal residence on that mortgage as a tax deduction. The only way you can use an interest payment as a tax deduction is if that investment is generating income that the government can then tax, right? So by borrowing the money from our home equity line of credit and investing it into the stock market, yes, we were paying our mortgage payment plus an interest payment, but all of that interest now becomes a tax deduction against our income. And it's really been beneficial over the past 3 years. 4 years since we started.
4 years, 100%. And that's basically what we did. We invested the equity of our house. At that time, I already had my own business. I was working as a contractor. in the human resources field as a project manager. I think that I can share that now. Yeah, I used to be a project manager. My background is actually on IT, and Kristine was working for the city of Toronto at that time. From one side, it was good because I did not have to do anything related to benefits. As a contractor, if you work, you get paid. If you don't work, you don't get paid. And as a result, that the fact that Kristine had the benefits from her job, I'll not take advantage. It's not it's not take advantage of that. I was using the benefits.
Totally took advantage, guys.
Which was perfect for us. So no kids and having the benefits from Kristine's jobs and everything, was a perfect combo, because everything that I was making on my with my clients, at the beginning, not really, but basically I was able to invest
the
majority of my money that I was receiving and living on Kristine's income, right?
Yeah, and that's really what we've kind of continued to do over the past few years. We've only lived on my income for the most part. We did take some from Gean's company, but the vast majority kept being invested. And all of the dividends and distributions that we would receive from all of our investments, again, were reinvested back into the portfolio. So that's where we ended up. And I mean, we ended up getting to a point, we reached the number that we had set for ourselves, that was the number we were going to be able to live on.
We thought initially at $40,000, remember?
Yeah, at the beginning, we had anticipated $40,000 a year
and retiring in 2028.
And and it was 40,000 because, as many of you already know, and maybe some of you don't, we're not planning on staying in Canada. We love Canada, don't get us wrong. However, it's just too expensive for us to be able to retire and live the life that we envision for ourselves and stay here. So we're going to be geo-arbitraging and living throughout the world and having a little bit of a home base every once in a while in Brazil.
Yeah.
So originally it was 40,000, but over the past few years, we considered that amount. Just with the cost of everything, it's continuously gone up, and we decided we needed a little bit more money to be realistic, and so we settled on $60,000 a year.
Yes. And dividends and distributions, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I think many of you might have been following some of the dividend videos that we put out, and happy to say that we will have achieved that $60,000 through the course of this year. So we're set and we're ready to go. And so we did. Pulled the trigger, and I put my papers in, and as of March 31st, I am an unemployed retired person. So I do have one paycheck left to give.
That's good.
That'll be a reality check.
I know. Well, what a journey, right? So ups and downs along the way. We are going to be sharing with you some of the, I am not allowed to say mistakes. I'm only allowed to say learning opportunities. But when I say learning opportunities, they are learning opportunities and not mistakes, but not learning opportunities. You know what I mean? But sorry, go ahead.
I just feel like mistakes is so negative. Everything kind of gives us something new to learn.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true. Why don't we go and answer some of the questions? The first one, I mean, there's another one, but this one is easy. Tracy, she's saying, how old are you guys? I am 51.
Yeah, and I'm 45.
Yeah, 51 and 45.
Yeah, so I think that is relatively young in the grand scheme of things. But when we looked back and kind of took stock of how our working lives and our lives had progressed, we realized that I had been working in some form of a job since I was 13, and Gean was about 15.
Yeah.
So we're about 30 years of working, and I think probably many of you are around the same. It's a long time when you sit down and think about how long you've really been earning a paycheck.
Yeah.
So we're tired.
Yeah.
We need a break.
By the way, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, maybe you already are, which is great, perfect. But if not, Kristine, she is actually in the process of recording her video, talking a little bit more about her adventures. I already created mine. Maybe later on we can kind of give you guys a few links, but And it was the date that I decided to retire. I had been working for 33 years, I believe.
Years.
Yeah. The video is already available, so you can go and take a look. But Kristine is not yet, so she's working on her video, and I keep bugging her every day, and she is creating one where I'm not even gonna be, I might be on the other side of the camera, just looking and seeing what she's gonna do.
I might need my emotional support person, because I didn't leave my job because I didn't enjoy my job. I didn't leave my job because I hated my job. In fact, I loved my job. But it was just, there was a lot of reasons that I needed to have a change. So we'll get into those in that video, but it should be soon.
Amazing. Why don't we go to the first question?
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, please, you have been writing them down, right?
I have been writing them
perfect.
down. Yes.
We have one, and the first question that we're gonna talk about and answer is from Sarah.
Yeah, so these ones came in. Unfortunately, like I said before, some of these people can't be here, but they sent in some questions. So Sarah's first question was, how did we make the decision to take my pension as a lump sum versus receiving a monthly payout as a traditional pension, so that would be guaranteed income along with our CPP and OAS?
Yep.
So initially, we had actually anticipated leaving that pension in the plan and receiving those monthly payments, because it's basically that would act as a bond in our portfolio, right? Like kind of like a guaranteed monthly income, and then we wouldn't need the number of dividends that we have. But the more we researched, and that's kind of key in any time of decision like this, you really need to do your research. I started talking to my pension plan, and they let me know that as of 2012, way back when I wasn't even thinking about retirement, decisions had been made that if I was to leave the job prior to the early retirement date that was set by the pension plan, anything that I contributed after 2012 would not be indexed to inflation. And in my case, that was quite a significant amount of that pension. So looking at it and thinking, well, if over more than half, probably 3/4 of that pension is not going to be indexed to inflation, why are we leaving it in this plan when we could pull it? And, I mean, we by no means have this thing figured out, but I think we could reasonably expect to invest that in a lira and some other investments and receive 4 to 6% without an issue moving forward, and let that grow until such a time that we needed it.
Yeah. Sorry, just to clarify, lira is a locked-in retirement account. For those of you in Canada, you might be familiar with that, which is basically an account that if you decided to take your pension, the money goes from your pension goes to this lira.
A portion of it.
Yeah, a portion of it, and it stays there, which is locked in. You cannot make any withdrawals for a certain period of time.
Yeah, and
right?
I feel like it works the same in the US. I mean, and it makes sense, right? The government really just wants to make sure that you're not going to waste that money before you need it, right, down the road. So yeah, so that was the reason we chose to take it out, and we're going to invest it on our own, simply because the vast majority of that was not going to be indexed to inflation.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. The next one is from Daryl. And before we start, congratulations, Daryl. Hopefully you're on here, because I hear you have great news. You achieved your own financial independence just last week. So we did it together.
Congrats.
Good job.
Amazing. Good job, Daryl.
Okay. So I'll let you answer this one. But the question is, what percentage does our new investment amount, so the amount that we're going to receive from the house and the pension, increase our monthly spending, our monthly budget that we've set for ourselves, which is about 5,000 Canadian dollars.
5 times 12 is 60,000 per year, and this is the amount that we are planning to do. It kind of goes together to what Tony is asking here. To confirm, your annual budget for world travel will be 60. It is 60-ish. It is going to be more or less, and we just wanted to have some flexibility for what is going to come, right? So it'll be amazing if we can spend less, but at the same time, we will be okay if we can spend more. So it's just like a guideline that we are thinking to do. And to answer Daryl's question, with the money that Kristine is gonna receive from her pension, it's not a dilemma per se, but what we wanted to do, we wanted to get part of this money and invest into ETFs, more for growth, since the money is going to be locked in for quite a few years. So it doesn't make any sense to invest in dividends because, I mean, if it is a dividend, we are not going to get anything.
We can't
right?
use it anyway.
Yeah. So what is Daryl's question? What is the percentage and
how much would it increase our monthly budget?
I think that we are planning just to be like on the safe side, maybe get between $5,000 to between $5,000 and $10,000 more
per year
in dividend distribution. So right now, we already know that we can make to $60,000. That's what we wanted to do. But with the extra money that you're going to be receiving, we wanted to invest in more dividends, and as a result, maybe between $5,000 and $10,000.
However, we're not going to increase our monthly spend.
No.
So our goal with this is to maintain that 60,000 or less a year in spending, and then anything over that, hopefully that'll be about 10,000 or 12,000.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's 12,000, because then we'll be able to continuously max out our TFSAs every year.
Yeah.
So that's the goal, is to keep building the TFSA as much as possible each year, hopefully max those out. And for our friends down south, you have a similar account, but here we call it a tax-free savings account. So we put in after-tax money, and anything that grows or is accrued in there, you can withdraw it tax-free.
Which is similar to the Roth IRA in the United States. Yeah.
So that's the goal. Even though we're going to be increasing our dividends a bit, as well as our growth, our goal is still to live on the 60,000 or less if we can. And we're going to keep sharing that number with you guys every month.
Yeah.
Show you how we're doing, but that's the goal.
Is it before or after taxes?
Well, that's after tax. Yeah. We still 100%. Have to. The government.
We have to pay taxes, which is okay.
Yeah. But that being said, our accountant has gone through everything, as well as our drawdown strategy that we've had done for us. And our tax at the end of the year on that money isn't significant. We might be paying around $2,000 to $3,000 in tax a year annually between the two of us on those dividends. So
Yeah. How are we doing so far? Are you guys happy with our questions and answers? Give us some love. Give us a like if you want to, so that will be great. And I hope that we can see how you're doing. Sorry.
Yeah. So just, I think Tracy, you were asking, do you have a lump sum cash value to your commuted value? We do. It is a significant amount of money. We do share that now, just kind of, maybe this is a good time to talk about this a little bit. Because we're going to be traveling a little bit more, and not to say that we're recognizable anywhere, it's more when we're traveling in some maybe countries that have a little bit more of a security consideration. We're not going to be as open with some of the numbers as we have been previously. Here on the open forum YouTube, we are sharing some of that over on the membership side. If you guys are interested, by no means don't feel obligated or anything, but if you're interested, we're sharing our dividend income over there. We have been for several months now, as well as we'll be sharing things such as this, as the value of the commuted pension and things like that, our net worth generally, maybe a quarterly instead of every month, but things like that. So we do have a value. Unfortunately, we're just not going to put that out here right now, but it is going to make quite a difference. Okay. So the next question, we're going to get to some of these as well, but is from Jessica. So Jessica asked how we settled on that $60,000 number that we were going to need per year. How did we feel confident in that decision? And that she's been thinking of taking a year off as a sabbatical to kind of test out their own financial independence numbers and journey. So how do we come up with 60?
I think that the exercise that we went through, it's basically what are some of the things that we wanted to do together, right? So that was like the first point.
Yeah.
But we basically started with our budget. What is the budget that we have now? And based on what we wanted to do in the future, what kind of budget are you going to have? There was a starting point. So we knew that, for example, as we sold the house here in Toronto, it means that I don't have the proper tax anymore that I have to pay. Well, if I don't have the proper tax, what can I use this money to, right? So we went through this process of deciding what we wanted to do together, what kind of lifestyle we wanted to have, and barely how much is it going to cost us. That's how we end up getting to the $60,000, more or less. It's just like as a guideline. It doesn't mean that you're going to spend more than that. We might spend more than that, which is totally fine. I mean, based on the numbers that you already have, I don't think that you're going to have any problems at all. And there are so many other things that we can do. Another one is giving you guys, like as a guideline, we have been collecting credit cards. Not collecting credit cards. We have been accumulating,
like
we have been accumulating credit card points, which is basically to use as we are officially retired now, right? So some of those expenses that we had on our day-to-day basis that we are not gonna have that anymore, we end up using credit cards over the last 4 or 5 years. And since you guys are here, I don't think that is. Can I tell them how many points we've got? Yeah. As of today, we have around 2.5 million points, like travel-related points, either on airlines or hotels. And this is what we wanted to do, because we know that you guys might have heard of the sequence of return, and the initial 4 to 5 years are the ones that you should be a little bit more careful with what we do. And that's how the credit card, the points, the travel-related points comes in, because we can either go to a place and travel to a place where we're going to pay, or I can use those points from hotels and stay in a hotel and we don't have to pay anything, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where we're trying to stay below that 60,000 if we can for the first 5 years or so, right? Just so that we're not running into that sequence of returns and see how it works, see how it goes, because we're used to saving money. We're not used to spending it. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. So did I answer Jeff's question or not? So basically, that's how we got it, right? So we decided to have a budget of how much we wanted to do. It was the first step. And the other step that we wanted to do is it really not even worth it? Is it real or not? Because we initially thought, is it going to be 2028? It's not 2028 anymore. It's actually 2024. We decided to use financial advisors, like a fee-only financial advisor. And speaking with these guys, we provided the numbers and the budget on how much we were planning to spend over the years. And they said, no, you should be okay. You should be fine. So that's how it kind of gave us, some peace of mind.
Yeah. And we came to that number, just like Gean said, you have to have that conversation with your partner, right? What do you envision for your future? And that's not just this future we envision for ourselves the next 10 years, but it's 20 years. What happens when one of us might need care down the road? Where do we see ourselves? How much is that going to cost? And these are all factors that sort of came into play when we decided on that $60,000 number. And it involved a lot of research, because the cost of long-term care in Canada varies greatly than the cost of long-term care in Mexico or Brazil or Thailand, right? And there's some excellent facilities all over the place. And you just need to make those decisions with your significant other as to where you see your combined future going. And that's really going to help you determine what that number is for you, for anyone, really.
Sounds good.
All right. We're getting some other questions here. So Dominic is asking, oh, Daryl, hi.
I'm going to close. Right.
So, Dominic, you asked if it makes a difference on the tax rate if the income comes from dividends versus selling stocks. So if it's held in the RRSP, there is no tax implications at all. It's just whatever you withdraw from the RRSP is going to be taxed at your normal tax rate, whatever that is at that point in your life, right? In the margin account, capital gains and dividends are taxed differently. And it depends whether, I'm assuming it's the same in the US or whatever your country of origin is. But if you're selling from your country of origin or receiving a dividend from that country of origin, generally they receive a better tax treatment, right? So capital gains do tend to be taxed a little bit better. But at the end of the day, we worked through quite a few scenarios with our accountant. And honestly, dividends kind of came out on the top for us with what we were hoping to achieve. So I don't know if that answered. I thought the tax rate was only based on the amount of income.
Yes.
If you're not selling, so your dividends would be taxed on the income, right? Whatever the value of that dividend is. And then you would be taxed on the capital gain of whatever you sell, right? They're taxed slightly different. And it depends if it's a Canadian company or an international one, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you hold some of those positions inside, let's say an RSP, if it's, let's say I'm gonna invest in a company down in the United States, the best option would be perhaps be inside your RSP because you don't have to pay withholding taxes at all, right? But if it is outside, like as you did mention, in inside the margin account, so the treatment is different. It's a lot of
just
pros and cons
where you're investing that money.
We are not experts at all. That's why we
have that accountant, guys.
We have the accountant to kind of take care of those things for us, which is quite helpful.
Yeah,
right?
and Christy, you were asking about the accountant. So our accountant, he's our accountant. He also is very helpful with determining taxation upon retirement. He knows already what we're paying as taxes. He knows based on the level of dividends we have, what we're projecting to pay for tax. He's not the one that we use to do our financial planning, however.
No.
We did go to 2 separate independent fee-only financial advisors and had them do independent plans. And both of them came out very similar. And then, interestingly enough, we also used Mark and Joe from Cash Flows and Portfolios. Some of you may have heard of them. Mark has a great blog, My Own Advisor, and their numbers were dead on with the other 2. So depending on where you are in your financial journey, if you're just looking to get a kind of a general idea, if you're not quite there, you're not ready, they would be a good option to go to just to kind of give you an idea of what your future withdrawals may look like. If you want that complete plan, highly suggest an independent financial advisor that fee only. And they're the ones that are licensed to do that. But Mark and Joe are amazing at confirming your numbers. And then we're going to use them now and into the future because we know that their numbers are pretty much bang on what we were getting from the fee only guys. And it's quite a difference in cost. So
100%.
And Jean's looking for something. So hopefully you guys are all there right now. But we also had a question about our combined income. So I would say that generally our combined income is over 200,000 Canadian. It would vary because mine is a salaried income or was a salaried income. But Jean's varied. I mean, if he had no contract, he wasn't getting paid. So it depends. But pretty much we were probably 200,000 or higher.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, next question. Did we miss anything?
No, I just put up there if you guys are interested. And again, no, you don't have anything to do, but if you wanted to consider, this is like the Cash Flows and Portfolios website that we've mentioned before.
Okay, Lori, here's your question. So I think you were asking if we got to it already. Not yet. So Lori's question was, how can I convince my hubby to leave Canada for a cheaper life? He is born and raised in Canada, says he would never consider a life outside, even if it means we could retire now and live so much more cheaply. That's a hard one, right? If both of you have a different vision of what you see for your future, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it would be interesting to, rather than move full time, because that's not for everybody. This is what we've chosen to do is not going to be necessarily what, well, I can tell you that it's not even what any of our friends have chosen to do. So it's not even on their radar. However, it might be an interesting proposition to put to him to say, okay, well, maybe not full time, but let's go for 3 months and try out a country that you're interested in. See how it goes, right? Now compare the cost of living there versus the cost of what you were spending here in Canada. And maybe that would help to convince him. And if it's not even, maybe it's not full-time living outside of Canada, but maybe it's part of the year, right? So you sort of snowbird to different places or one specific location. And then he's able to still have a, some time back here at home as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I
It's a good
think,
idea.
it's a hard one. But at the end of the day, this is a conversation that I believe that you guys should have. You might already had this conversation before, right? And even some of the dreams that you have, what do you think? And what are some of the things that you wanted to do in your retirement years, right? And the same way as him, is just kind of trying to find the balance. Even nowadays, it seems that we are perfect. We are not perfect at all. There are places that I wanted to go. There are places that Kristine wanted to go. We are so, so happy to what is coming. But we've had those difficult conversations in the same way. And sometimes we still do have them because we don't know. It's the future. We don't know what is going to happen up there. We kind of have a basic idea of what is important for her and what is important for me. And I'm gonna give you a good example. She loves history. Yeah, she loves history quite a lot. And I'm not. I think that I skipped those classes. But at the same time, if this is something that she wanted to do, I'm more than happy to compromise because I love beaches and I know that she does. But maybe not to the same extent that I do. So sometimes we go and we spend, she's gonna be in Egypt, maybe here in Canada, go to Oak Island, right? In Nova Scotia, and I'm gonna go with her. I'll be having my rye or my beer, or I don't know what it is, while she has, fun.
Yeah, it's just compromise, right? And I think that's a hard one. I think that maybe just show him the difference in your life, right? I know that $5,000 in Canada is not going to give you $5,000 in Southeast Asia and $5,000 in Canada are a very different life, right? So maybe just take some time for both of you, explore different areas of the world, see what you can get for your money in different places, see if one of them clicks. And maybe that would be enough to, kind of change a little bit of his mindset. And if it's not full time, maybe it's, every 3 to 6 months. You guys either are here or somewhere else, right?
And look around. Maybe his parent or somebody that is kind of part of your family, they go and spend some time in Florida. Maybe instead of going to Florida or even starting in Florida, go and consider expanding, your area and what are some of the things that we wanted to do.
Yeah, and I think that, so Vivek was asking, I think I pronounced that right, was asking what our projected time spent here in Canada is versus traveling abroad. So I think for the first 5 to 10 years, we're going to be full-time, mostly full-time abroad. I think for me, though, I still require coming home. And Gean too, but I need to come home. I want to see my dad. He's still with us. I want to see my brother, my sister-in-law, my nieces, and my cousins, my friends. I know, but it's for me. I kind of need to come home for at least a month or two every year. Now, whether that's consecutive or split it up, kind of whenever one flight lands, we spend some time and then take off somewhere else. We'll see how that looks. But I think we'll be back home in Canada at least once a year. Yeah. And the same with Brazil. We want to spend time with Gean's family, right? That's part of the whole reason that we're looking to do this. He's been here for over 20 years. So he's missed a lot of stuff back home. And we really want to be able to go home and spend some time with his mom and his brothers and kind of reconnect with those guys.
So basically, we are keeping our Canadian residence. We are not giving up our Canadian residence at all, right?
Damien, Oak Island is amazing. Tell him. Every time he's like, did they find anything yet? I'm like, wood. They found more wood, guys. Anyways, that's another conversation. So are we Brazilers now? Part-time. Just as we're part-time Canadian, I think. And then we're part-time world nomads. That's going to be our foreseeable future. I think there's so much in this world for us to see.
Yes.
So many things we want to try and do and explore that we don't want to settle too much in any one spot right now.
No, not really. Not really. That's the plan.
All right, Alex, you were asking books that we read.
Okay. I think that I have a few. I have a link, Alex, that I can give it to you. Some of the books that we've read along the way, on our financial independence journey, they are quite helpful. I am going to type the URL up here. Feel free to go and take a look. Great books. Sorry.
No, he was specifically asking about research to happiness, and some of them are there. I think there was Die with Zero was a really good one. Because it talks about memory dividends. It talks about kind of like planning for your future. I really enjoyed that book. I felt that was a really good one.
Yeah. Another one I think it's From Strength to Strength. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but we are going to see that one, which is quite good. How to Retire Happy, Wired, and Free. It's another one which gives you I think there are more than 100 things that you can do as a retired person. So there are a few books. Go and take a look. I hope that they can help you out as well.
Yeah. Okay, Gary says, do you prioritize growth stocks or dividend stocks? We do both.
Great question.
Yeah.
We consider ourselves hybrid investors. Why do we say hybrid? Because we have investments in real estate. Even though we sold that property here in Canada, we have a property in Brazil. For example, right now, since we are here, the property back there is being rented. So it kind of gives us some income that we don't even kind of bring back to Canada. We leave the money there because we are going to be in Brazil for quite some time, and it kind of helps us with, the money that we have to withdraw. So the money is already there.
Yeah.
In addition to this, we have dividends we have a lot of dividend stocks in our portfolio. I think it's 12 or 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that we did prioritize those until we reached that amount that we had set for ourselves, the 60,000. Yeah. We had invested some in growth as well, but now we're kind of shifting a little bit more.
Yes. And there is always a reason behind. We don't do those things because we think dividends are better than growth. It kind of depends on the situation. Initially, dividends were better for us in our investments because of the tax consequences that we had in play, right? So that's why we thought, well, from this time, since both of us are working and we are invest in the equity of our house, dividends is the best way. Now that both of us are now retired, we are doing a little bit of both, which is more growth. And I give you an example is the lira that Kristine is going to receive money from her pension. The money is going to be locked in for quite a few years. So it doesn't make any sense for us to invest in dividend-paying stocks because you're not going to get the money right away. As a result, we are allocating that money into ETFs, right?
Right.
Because of the growth.
Yeah. The same with our RSPs. They're set to grow for another substantial number of years. We will withdraw a little bit from the TFSAs if we need it, in addition to the margin accounts, but the TFSA dividend RSP and Lira are going to be continuing to grow. Those are our growth accounts right now. Our margin account is kind of like our spending account. We're using the dividends that we've invested into to live off of.
you guys know, I mean, we are all adults here, but first of all, this is not financial advisor, or please do consult, like a financial planner, a financial advisor, see what is your situation, see what it fits your profile, and please don't do and try to replicate what we are doing, because every single step that we took in our way, there was a tax consequence behind. There was somebody telling us go this way rather than the other one. So that's why it's important, to do what it fits what your reality is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think, Vishal, you were asking how much savings did we start this journey with in 2018? Let me tell you, I didn't have any. But I did have the house.
Yeah.
So that had been my investment up to that point,
Mhm.
along with some debt. But Gean had been investing for a couple of years at that point.
Yes.
And I think that the turning point for us was really finding that Smith maneuver strategy,
Mhm.
and really sort of the turning point was knowledge and education
Yes.
for us,
Mhm.
and realizing that we didn't want to follow the traditional path that a majority of people have. And that's not that it's the wrong path, but for us, we didn't want to wait until we were 60 or 65 to retire. We envisioned something different.
Mhm.
So at that point, it was like, that was the turning point. It wasn't necessarily a financial turning point, but that's the turning point in our minds, where we're like, okay, we need to do something different.
Mhm.
What do we need to do? How do we need to do it? And when do we want to accomplish it by?
Yeah.
And those were the decisions where we changed what we were doing, right?
Mhm.
We cut back on frivolous spending that we were doing. We really started to prioritize paying down debt, and then investing as much as we could.
Yeah. And the reason behind this, both of us, I lost my dad, Kristine lost her mom, and they
Young.
passed away. They were young. They basically had finished, working for, at least in my case, or with my dad, he had been retired for maybe less than a year, and he ended up finding out that he had cancer, and he passed out. So he passed away with less than 1 year into retirement. And I thought to myself, I don't want to do this anymore. What are some of the things that I can do that I can retire, as soon as possible and enjoy life? And that's what it kind of motivates me to get to this point. And the same way with you, right?
Same way with me. I mean, my mom wasn't very old, and it was nothing. She wasn't sick. She wasn't anything. It was just here one minute, gone the next, right? And it's that unpredictability. And I mean, we can't live our lives necessarily thinking that we only have another 5 to 10 years left. We might as well go blow all our money. No, we've planned it out so that we can sustain it. But we thought, why are we working to live a life that really doesn't make us happy, but be surrounded by things, or we can just take what we know we need to live and go and enjoy the rest of the world, right? And I think that was more our mentality. So, Dominic, I see a question, and I'm sorry I missed this one. Did you know that you can unlock part of your Lira and transfer it to your RSP without tax or penalty? It gives greater flexibility for the withdrawals. So we know a little bit. We don't know a lot, and our accountants tried to explain it to us. I think this is something that we definitely need to do some more investigation into. But I think I can't do that. Maybe so if you do, let us know. But I don't think I can start to do that until I'm 55, which still gives us 10 years of growth. So perhaps when we do start to unlock it or move it, it'll be into dividends or it'll be into something different. But if or have a good resource where we might be able to find some information, if you can let us know, that'd be very helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from our...
No, I think,
friends?
So Mark's saying, yes, you have to be 55.
to unlock your Lira. Okay, thanks, Mark.
We're going to go ask cash flows and portfolios about that. I think that's all the questions I had.
Yeah.
Unless I missed a couple of the questions. Any recommendations for a first trip to Brazil?
Whoa.
I'm going to leave this one to the resident Brazilian.
I am going to ask, how many days do you have available to go to Brazil? Brazil, it's
huge, guys.
It's a huge country, and it depends on where you want to go and what kind of things that you want to do in Brazil. If it is beaches, you go like in one way. If you want to see nature, you go on another way. If you want to be, with like in the forest, you go another way. So it depends of what you are looking for.
I can tell you that there are beautiful beaches in the north, well, all along Brazil. If you look at a map, it's nothing but one giant beach. But the northeast part of Brazil, the beaches are nonstop, endless, beautiful, gorgeous beaches.
Yeah. We actually, you guys know, we bought was it 2018? 2019. We ended up buying a place in Brazil. Funny story, that's when I was not even...
We hadn't even decided to get married.
No, yeah, we were not married at all. That's a funny story. Maybe you guys will have some fun with this. And then I decided to go and I'm going to bring Kristine, and she's going to kind of meet my family. It was for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Meet my family for the first time. And then I always told Kristine about João Pessoa, which is the place that we decided to have a place in Brazil. It's basically because a good friend of mine, he said, you got to go and visit and live at João Pessoa and see what it is. That's when when I went to see my family, we also went to see my friend, and we were, having a good time there. And he said, okay, maybe, we were drinking on the night, and then the next day, let's go for a walk, let's go for a drive. And he started driving us around João Pessoa, and he says, oh, look at this condo. It might be, for...
It was a pile of bricks.
Yeah, let's look at this condo and see what's going on now. The condo is honestly maybe, I'm not kidding, 10 steps from the beaches where, like the waves keep crashing. And okay, let's go and take a look. Kristine fell in love, and as a result, we decided, to buy the condo.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where the place in Brazil is. But going back to your point, from Toronto, there is only one direct flight that leaves from Toronto. It goes to São Paulo. São Paulo is on the southeast part of Brazil. And from there, you can kind of go anywhere in Brazil, right? So it's like the main hub in Latin America. So it depends on how many days you have and what kind of style you wanted to do.
Send us an email.
Yeah.
Send us an email with a few of the details, and maybe Gean can kind of give you some ideas, because there's so much to do.
Yeah, and it's funny enough, because I have so many friends, I don't even know if they are participating on the live stream now or not. That we have these things in common. Adriana and Jess, it's a couple that we know. Who else? Oh my goodness.
Now you're putting yourself on the spot.
I know.
There's so many.
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 couples that they also had a place in Brazil, and funny enough, some of them in João Pessoa, but
lots of great places to check out. All right, Johnny Yuma. Sorry, no quick advice there for the TSX and New York Stock Exchange for quick cash. However, you did ask about if we're going to withdraw from the portfolio 1 year of expenses at a time, or are we going to do it month to month? So we've set aside, I don't know that we've ever really kind of talked about this, but we do have kind of like a pool of cash that we're going to keep, or we have kept in 2 separate accounts. Those are simple cash accounts. They're sitting in that. And so that's where we're going to withdraw our money as we need it every month. And then as we withdraw $2,000 from each account, we'll withdraw the $2,000 in dividends and replenish that balance in the Wealthsimple accounts. For now, I think that's how we're going to do it. So we're not necessarily going to withdraw anything that we don't need in order to replenish those 2 accounts, maintain the balance that we want to keep in those 2 accounts. I think that's going to work good for us. We don't want to take all the cash out at the beginning of the year, because we already know that the longer and the more we keep it in our investments, the better. If we don't need it, we're just going to reinvest it the next month.
Yeah, and also to add to that, this year is going to be a bit different, because we are already in April, and for 4 months of this year, we are still living in Canada. The expenses, they keep coming, property tax keep coming and everything.
That. So Gean already alluded to the fact that we're going to share another video with you guys at the end of this one. But spoiler alert, it was, we took a little bit of a 4-day trip here in Canada. last week just to kind of get away. But every day, Jean's like, "Are we over budget? How much did we spend today?" And I'm like, "We are way over budget." So Canada isn't as cheap as other places. So,
but I think that you'll be okay. But I'm just, maybe that's like a retired person kind of.
it's just
Okay.
okay. Daryl, where is the safest places in Brazil that has João Pessoa? I'm going to say that because I think I'm biased, but it's really the only place I know. So other than Rio, and I wouldn't call that. It's beautiful beaches, really great city. Has some safety concerns that you need to be aware of. But other than that, there's a few other places, but a nice large city where you're going to find everything you need. For me, that's João Pessoa.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should they go? I'm going to scroll up a little bit. I don't know if we missed anything or not.
I think I've been keeping track.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay. While Kristine is looking for, for questions, for those of you who are, kind of joining us now, there was a question about dividends and net worth and budget and everything. Even though you might have noticed that we are not sharing the dividend income on the public, available to everybody, but we are still sharing every single month our dividend income to the members of the channel. If you guys are planning, if you want to kind of help and support our journey, you are more than welcome to come. We are still, sharing every single month the dividend income that we have received, right?
Yeah.
There is a join somewhere. If you go to our main page, which is under youtube.com/FieryGo, you will be able to see the join, and you can see the different membership options that you have. Just pick the one that you feel like, and we will definitely be joining us, where we also have not only the dividends, but we have live sessions. We talk about a little bit our net worth, and maybe we can talk about the net worth.
Yeah.
Phil, if you have been following us, one of the things that Kristine decided to have for last year was the net worth, right? Remember the net worth? You don't know what I'm talking about? We had a goal of reaching net worth.
This was you.
No, it was you.
No, I was the dividend.
Yeah.
You were
okay, there we go. Maybe it was me.
Blame me.
It was reaching a net worth for $1.3 million. We are happy to share that we actually reached that $1.3 million back in February, right? So, which is kind of great news. But stuff like that, we end up moving this conversation more to the group that we have. And if you are happy, if you are planning on joining our memberships, you're more than happy to have you with us.
Okay, 2 more questions coming here. So Dominic, will you be considered non-residents? If so, you can't keep your accounts with Wealthsimple. You would need to move to Quest. That's true. However, we are going to be residents of Canada for tax purposes. We're not going to be in Brazil long enough to become a tax resident there, and we're not going to be anywhere else long enough to be considered a tax resident. We still do have
my business is still open.
Business here. We're going to have, even though we don't own a place here, we're going to maintain an address here with family members. We're going to be coming back into the country. So we're not, we have no plans of becoming non-residents of Canada for tax reasons, mainly because we still don't know what the future may hold. So we don't want to kind of go through all of that and then come back down the road. And anyways, it's simpler right now. Keep it status quo. We're going to keep paying the government of Canada their cut
taxes. Yeah.
Okay, Brian, see what happens when you pay off the car. It's true. Amazing things happen.
Why don't we talk a little bit about we had, when we started the journey back in 2019, and always she looked. Oh, do I? Okay, go and answer that question.
Another question. So, Heather Elena, how are you maintaining a Canadian phone number for multi-factor authentication for CRA banks while you travel outside Canada?
Great question.
Jean has actually figured this out?
Yeah, well, with CRA, for those of you outside Canada, CRA is the Canadian Revenue Agency, which is basically where
Like the IRS.
Yeah, it's like the IRS in the United States. When you are logged in when we want to log into your CRA account, you usually have two options. You can have a phone number where you type your phone number and then you receive a code, and with this code you'll be able to access your account. And another one that the CRA they implemented quite recently, which is a CRA grid. It's basically a bunch of numbers that you have to download to your laptop, and as a result, every time that you want to log into your account, you either pick the phone number that you have for two-factor authentication, or the CRA grid table, which is a bunch of numbers that you type in and you can access your account. What we have been using is a VoIP, it's voice over IP service. That it's a service that I have, which is basically a Canadian number. And on my phone, I have an app. Every time that I receive a text message from the CRA, the text message comes to my VoIP number, and as a result,
two-factor.
Yeah, like the two-factor authentication. And as a result, I look at my number, which I do receive this number. Even it's kind of complicated, even though it's a SMS number, the code that I receive goes to my email.
Well, you also get a text
message. Yeah, and also get a text message from
and that works for the banks as well.
Yeah, it does work for the banks as well. So I basically get this number. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Gean can link the service that we've used that seems to be working okay for us.
Yeah.
Down below.
Yeah, I can definitely do this. Yeah.
But that works pretty good.
Yeah. If you are not, if you don't want to have a VoIP number, you can, especially if this is CRA specific, right? You can create your table, which is a combination of different letters, and with that, every time that you connect to your CRA, you can type that in and you will have access to your account.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Johnny Yuma saying that he withdraws 1 year's salary in January. So I that must work really good then if you just withdraw a bulk sum at the beginning of the year and then use that sort of as a declining balance. So something else.
Oh my goodness, you have been here for 1 hour already. It's 6 o'clock. How are we doing so far? We have how many people? 84 people live now and 35 likes.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We were, so full transparency here. This morning, we're like, okay, if nobody shows up to this, let's make it look like there's people here. What questions can we come up with?
Yeah, maybe you guys can give us more and see, if you're doing a good job or not. Yeah, don't feel obligated, but I hope that the answers that to your questions have been helpful at all. We are not financial advisors at all. All that we are is just a couple who fell in love in 2018, decided to live together and build our life together, and that's where we are now.
Yeah. So I guess maybe, I don't know, if you have more questions, keep putting them down here, but maybe we'll just talk a little bit about, so obviously things are a little bit different now, right? We've kind of reached the point of financial independence for us. And now we're planning to travel. So we kind of wanted to bring you guys along as well with that whole new adventure. So the videos might look slightly different. We're still going to try and, address all of the financial independence, like our budget issues, how we're kind of doing with the whole retirement thing. Are we pros and cons? Are we having any problems? Not between us, hopefully, but just in general, we want to bring that to you. But we also kind of want to share some of the fun stuff that we're doing. So if hopefully that's of interest to you guys as well, because I think that's kind of interesting, right? To show people an alternative to their traditional mentality or what people think of as a retirement for them, right? So,
and that's what we basically decided to do, right? Because back in 2020, when we were like more into FIRE, we were looking for channels online who talked about that. And all the channels at that time when we were researching, it was from couples or individuals who were already retired, but we didn't see anyone who was in the process of getting into retirement. And then we thought, well, why don't we talk about our story?
Mhm.
And if you go back to 2020 and watch the videos, we're going to have us the battle between 2028 and 2024. So that's when you're going through this, you're going to see the dividend income that we have received for the first month and the second month until
the whole journey.
we've got to this point, right? The whole journey. So that's how
Now we get to show you the journey after.
Yeah, exactly. You can see that it's possible, that it's doable, right?
Yeah. Law M, can you please tell us what credit cards do you plan to keep? Oh, Luda. Oh my gosh, you just opened a can of worms here. So it's going to depend.
I'm so excited. Yeah, true.
It's going to depend if you're here in Canada or in the US.
Or in the United States or anywhere else around the world, right? So maybe a bit story. We are in Canada, and as a result, we do have Canadian credit cards in our account.
Let's do those first.
Yeah, the what?
The
Canadian one. So the first, we have experienced so many credit cards, and I think that I was counting of how many credit cards we do have now. I believe it's around 25 or 26 open, right? Yeah, open credit cards.
Don't judge us, guys. There's a reason.
They are that's quite a lot of credit cards. But in Canada now, we hold 2 credit cards, which one is from American. I mean, we had 3, but we canceled the HSBC because HSBC, they just transfer to RBC. But going back to your point, sorry, I keep going back and forth. 2 credit cards. One is the American Express Cobalt, which
is probably
in my opinion is your best choice for credit cards that you have in Canada, because we like to go out and go to restaurants. For every single dollar that we spend at the restaurant, you end up getting 5 points.
5 Amex rewards.
5 American Express rewards points, membership rewards points. And the other category is grocery. So we have the grocery. Once we go and do our grocery, we also go to a grocery who accepts American Express, which is also 5 times the points. Now, I'm going to link up here the credit card that we have, so you can go and take a look. But in our opinion, that's the best one for.
And it's the best one because Amex reward points transfer at a 1-to-1 ratio to most. There's 2 major hotel chains, as well as 3 or 4 airline programs, including Air Canada's Aeroplan.
Yeah.
And so they transfer at a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you think about every dollar you're spending on eating, basically, in your life here in Canada, you can end up with 5 points for every $1 you spend, which is actually really good. Even compared to the US cards, that's the best earning rate for eating in grocery category that there is. So it's actually quite a powerful card. So that's probably your best one, and it doesn't really have a huge annual fee. I think it gets charged $12.99 a month.
The other credit card is from a hotel, which is the also American Express Marriott card. The annual fee, if I'm not mistaken, is $120 per year.
Yeah,
and you also receive a credit, right? Like a certificate, a free night certificate that we end up using this certificate from places that we end up going. So those are the main ones that we have in Canada.
We do have a lot of other Canadian cards, guys, but we don't really use them. They're more cards we've held for no fee cards that we've had for years that we're not closing.
Sorry for our friends, Canadian. Our Canadian friends, we don't have a lot of options in Canada, which is unfortunate. However, we also have credit cards in the United States, which is a whole, my mind is just exploding with so many options.
There's a process. As a Canadian, you can open US credit cards. There is a bit of a process, and you do need certain legal things in place, but it's possible. And once you can break into that US credit card game, it's a very different reality for you.
Yes.
for anybody really, even those
Uh-huh.
good job
Yeah.
US people, because
Yeah.
you've got the best scheme going.
They do, yeah. Credit cards that we have in the United States, we have credit cards from Chase, and we also have credit cards from American Express, right? From Chase, we have
Sapphire,
the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we have the Chase
Hyatt,
Hyatt card, we have the Chase Cash In.
Chase
What else? The
IHG.
Chase IHG. So we have a few Chase credit cards, and you also have American Express cards. One of the American Express Business Gold. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's quite a few options in the US. And actually, so it's probably for Canadians, if you're interested, let us know, because we can try as best as we can to explain this maybe in a future video or maybe two, because it's
Sure.
quite complicated. But as a Canadian, it's probably the easiest to get US American Express cards, because Amex in the US will use your Canadian credit reports as they're fine using those, whereas you have to start to build credit for all the other banks in the US. So Amex in the US is probably your easiest entry point.
Yeah.
And they have some pretty significant welcome bonuses and earning rates as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let us
Yeah.
know. If you're interested, we can certainly try to kind of put something
Yeah.
together.
If you want to see at some of the credit cards that we have, let me just put the link here. If you go to our resources page on our website,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see a link to credit cards, and from there you'll be, we can see which credit cards we are using now. But it's doable, it's possible. You can definitely have credit card in the United States.
Yes.
And by the way, nothing that we are doing here is actually under the law. So I mean,
no, it's illegal.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's following the process, because people might think, oh, I didn't know. You guys might be doing something that doesn't make sense. No, but it's not at all. That's why, having a business, I do have my business, opens up so many opportunities. And it doesn't have to be a business. I get excited when I talk about credit cards. It doesn't have to be a business where you have employees or anything like that. If you are, for example, selling things on Facebook, this is a business. You can claim those expenses as well. Those are some of the things that we didn't know initially. That's why, we leverage the expertise of our accountant and learning, the process on how, we should do.
Yeah. Dominic mentioned, so for Canadians, yeah, you're right. The Scotiabank Passport is a great one here in Canada. Most of our credit cards in Canada have foreign transaction fees, which is really unfortunate. So if you're traveling, you get dinged with those. But this particular card that Dominic's mentioning, it doesn't. It has no foreign transaction fees. So if you're traveling, this would be an excellent card if you have no other US cards that have no foreign transaction fees.
Yeah.
So,
but basically our mentality is, for every single dollar that we have to spend, I have to have, I'm still using my, but it's us. We've got to have a point back, towards us. We were
trying for 2 points.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, we were. Should we talk about what happens? What time is it? It's 15 after 6.
I don't know how much time everybody has.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, we'll see if we can put something together about how you go about getting the US credit cards. That's no problem.
Yeah.
And Johnny, you're asking, if we sold the house already, are we renting now? I feel like we're renting from the new owners, but the house is sold. It just hasn't closed yet. So it's going to close in a few days here. So probably the end of the week, we're going to be
gone
out the door, and the new owners will be taking possession in the next few weeks. So we're still in our house. As you can tell by the beautiful backdrop, it doesn't change. So hopefully we'll have something new for you guys soon.
Did I forget anything? I'm just going through the things. No, I don't think so. Oh, by the way, we also have a few free content available to you guys. Look at the resources page, because there we have 3 spreadsheets that you can kind of set your journey. If you know where to start, look at the budget, which is a spreadsheet that you use. It's available for free. If you want to do like dividend investing, there is also a spreadsheet that is available for free. even though the dividend is not only for dividends, for any, even for growth stocks, you can use the same spreadsheet as well. And the other one is the net worth. So all of this content that we make them available for you. Look at the resources page, and you can, if you decide to, you can download those spreadsheets out of Google spreadsheet, and they are all free. Go and take a look and refer somebody else that you might think that will be benefiting from that.
And one last question, Lionel, how do you pay U.S. credit cards with a Canadian checking account? So we have a U.S. bank account. That's how we pay them. So we transfer money from Canada to the U.S. and then we'll pay the bank or pay the cards with that bank account.
And the best one that we use is through Wise. If you have not heard of Wise before, it's one of the credit cards that not a credit card, it's like a debit, that you can use when you are overseas.
Card. Yeah. But that's how we transfer the money because they give pretty good exchange rates, but we still have a physical bank account in the U.S.
That is correct.
Yeah. And we can get into all of that. So again, if it's something that's interesting, then we'll look at putting together a video as best as we can explain it. And there's lots of other information out there. If it's something that you're interested in getting into and learning a little bit about, there's lots of resources out there. Yeah.
Okay. What else?
It's been an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know if you guys are tired of listening to us yet.
Thank you. I really appreciate your support and your help. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to share our journey with you guys, right?
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, we just really wanted to save this first live until, I don't know, this is a big milestone. And I think we're proud of ourselves. We're extremely excited about what's to come. And we really wanted to share that with you guys and make it special for all of us, right? And this being our very first live. Yeah, it's something we want to do more going forward. So if that's something that is interesting, let us know. But we really kind of wanted to save our first live to share with all of you guys a little bit of a celebration and answer some questions that you might have.
Yeah. I have one extra question that I have written. It's actually in another location. It's like, how can I support you? Good question.
Oh, yeah.
Well, first of all, we hope that the content that we have been creating over the last 4 years has been helpful at all to you guys. We believe that it is. We do because we love what we do. We wanted to document our journey to financial independence, and you can see that is actually possible. That is actually doable. I'm not saying that it's easy because it's not easy. We have been struggling. I mean, we did quite a few times in our journey to financial independence, but by the time that you change your mindset, by the time that you see what are the results and what you can achieve, it's totally doable, right? So that's what we end up doing. One way it might be the membership. If you want to help us out, come and join, like for at least 1 month, and we get a kick out of that. No pressure. You don't have to do that at all, but this is one of the ways. Another one, if you do shop on Amazon, use our Amazon link, and from that link, for whatever you end up buying, we receive a small commission of Amazon. I was actually looking today. We don't advertise that at all, but I think that we have received maybe $4 or $5 out of Amazon. Right? That's okay. I mean, we keep doing what we're doing, and we are happy with this. But some of the ways that if you feel like on our book list for whatever you end up doing at Amazon, we end up getting a small commission as you basically land at the Amazon page from our website. That's basically what it is. And I think that I have a link that I'm gonna link up here. Where I think it's on the books. If you go through the books, you pick a book, or I'm not interested in those books, but you end up at the Amazon website, and from there you buy whatever you want to do. No pressure at all. If not, just
keep watching.
Keep watching and liking and sharing this video with someone else that you think that might be helping them as well.
Yes. And Vivek, Thanks. Hopefully your next episode abroad soon. It's coming.
Oh,
So
Go
we
for
mentioned
it.
that it's not really abroad, but we're gonna share with you a video that we put out for the member channel. We're gonna put it up I think after we're finished here, so you can kind of see. But we just went and spent a few days in Montreal. So we just had a little sit down chat about what was going on. So that's our first. I don't know if it's considered abroad, but it's definitely a different background than here. And moving forward, you're definitely going to see a lot of different backgrounds and different locations.
Yeah, and on this video, we are actually going to release this video for maybe 2 days. You might be tired of us for now, right? Go and do whatever you want to do. If you come back to the channel, the video is going to be available, and throughout the week we will kind of remove this video. It's going to go back to private one, to members only. But on this video we did share, I mean, how we were feeling, but also the plans that we have for the following 3 months, right?
Yeah. So go take a look and you'll find out where we're headed. And if not, you'll have to keep watching and find out it.
Yes. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think everybody's bored of hearing us talk now.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Just share in the comments below. So it's been 1 hour and 20 minutes since we started. Oh my God.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming. And we'll have a new video coming out next week for you.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll end it there. Everybody go have your dinner, do whatever you need to do on this Sunday. If you're here in Ontario, it's beautiful out. So maybe go for a walk. And we'll see you next week.
Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in our next live or in our next video.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day. Take care. Bye. Now I have to learn on how we finish this. I think it's end stream. Let's see. Bye-bye.